We have we've read more than usual. I'm only going to limit this to a handful of questions, inshallah.
Just limit it to very few questions.
Just a few questions, inshallah. Okay. Somebody's asking, Fadit al-Sheikh, in terms of how we interact with the physical mushaf, a physical copy of the Quran, is there any specific ruling in terms of it being stored above our heads, above our waists, above our feet? What's the limit there?
Now we should always respect the mushaf, and if you feel uncomfortable placing it somewhere, then it's best to move it from that place. So always respect the mushaf and place it in a comfortable place where your heart, your fitra, and your aql and your heart feels content and comfortable. Place it somewhere high. Place it above other books. Do not place it next to your feet. If you're praying, have the small mushaf, have a chair next to it, or have a stand next to it, so you can place the mushaf onto those places, onto that stands when you go to ruku or when you go to sujood. Now, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan. How about, Sheikh, if we have photographs of family members or something hung up on our walls, does that invalidate our salah?
No, it doesn't invalidate your salah. Salah used to pray his salawat in front of the Kaaba when they were idols and so forth and so on. It doesn't invalidate the salah. However, you should not hang photographs for other reason, and the other reason is the angels do not come in. The angels do not come in when they see pictures, especially pictures of either idols, that shouldn't be in a Muslim house in the first place, right? Or images of idols, or anything that is worshipped, or pictures of anything that is exalted beyond the normal sentimental respect. Yeah, so if you hang, like for example, people have passed away and you hang them, then that's gone beyond the norm of just looking at them, remembering them, right? So you should not hang pictures of your family members on the wall. You should take them. You can have them in albums. You can have, but you should put them away. And when you want to see it, when you want to go through them, then you can go through them, inshallah, no problem. But you should not hang them on the walls. Maybe, especially if your intention is to exalt them in a way which is beyond normal, then the angels may not enter the house. Yeah.
Jazakumullah khairan wa ahsanallahu alaykum. How about, Sheikh, if we have a laundry basket near our prayer area or prayer mat, does that cause a problem to our salah? And what would you say about that?
It will not invalidate your salah, even if there's najis in these baskets, as long as it's not on the actual area where you put your 7 limbs on. So your 2 hands, your head, your nose, your 2 knees, and your 2 legs. As long as it's the najis, the impurity is not on those areas, then your salah will be valid, inshallah ta'ala. And usually those impurities will be very, very small, minute impurities anyway. However, if you feel uncomfortable, then yes, move the basket away from that area or from that place. If you can put it somewhere else, inshallah, it might be better, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakumullah khairan wa ahsanallahu alaykum, Sheikh. What about if this is a bin, a dustbin as well? Would that be the same ruling?
No, dustbin, there's no impurities in dustbin. So it shouldn't be the same ruling. But obviously, you may not feel comfortable because Jalla wa Ala says the masjid should be clean, i.e. the place of where you worship, and your clothes should be clean, you should be clean. So it's not the ideal place for you to put dustbins where you pray. That area should be clean and tidy and neat, and you should feel comfortable to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there. Jalla wa Ala says, Ya Bani Adam, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. Or children Adam, take beauty when you go to a masjid, when you want to pray. So wear your best clothes, or at least clean clothes. We do wudu or we do ghusl. We put itar on, and all of that is for more than anything else, is for them. When we're going to pray our salah, is for that reason. The itar and all of that is for that reason more than anything else. But we sadly put our itar on, we put our best clothes on when we go to parties, or when we go to weddings, or when we go to gatherings. And I used to, subhanAllah, tell people, brothers off, why dress so rough and like the clothes are no sort of same clothes you're wearing here so many days, and you should look, Muslims should look clean, we should smell nice and clean and so forth. So Rasulullah said, Al-Tahuru Shatrul Iman, and cleanliness is half of Iman, half of Iman. SubhanAllah. And everything about our deen is about purity and cleanliness and fragrance and so forth. That's why it's so sad to see even so-called adhering brothers, they wear clothes which are I wouldn't say like nice clothes, nice, clean, tidy clothes, and which what makes them look nice. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just you want to dress nice, you want to look nice. When you go out, you've got a dress style, you've got a dress code. You look smart, you look clean, you look nice, you smell nice. Your breath smells nice, and so forth. So this is something that we should, I think, take heed of. And I still always talk about our toilets. Our toilets are the worst toilets in terms of our Muslim communities, yeah, or us as community. Our toilets should be the most cleanest, the most beautiful toilets, right? We find the other communities, their toilets are the best and the most cleanest of toilets. They can even read newspapers in there, right? And our toilets tend to be very dirty, very unclean, and so forth and so on. Why is this? Even though the first chapter we study in Book of Law is chapter of purification, right? So we really need to work on this cleanliness issue. Wallahi, if you can't even get this issue correct in our dress code, in our cleanliness, in our having litter, having our siwak, all of these, if you can't get that right and keeping our clean and tidy our toilets and our bathrooms, if you can't get that right, then subhanAllah, the bigger issue is obviously we'll have more shortcomings and more lackings as well. Yeah.
Jazakumullah khairan. Sheikh, what's your opinion on families who spend excessive time in the kitchen before iftar and they overdo iftar?
If they have a big family, then obviously usually does take an hour to prepare iftar. But if there's a small family, then obviously the less time you spend, the better. So what we will say depends on how small or how big the family is, but the less time you spend in the kitchen, the better. An hour and a half to 2 hours just before iftar should be okay. But even when you're preparing, you should do dhikr and adhkar. If there's a Quran playing, leave the Quran on. In the kitchen, leave the Quran. Now you have iPads, just leave the Quran on, or listen to the Quran. Or if you've memorized some surahs beside the Quran, if you haven't memorized, then do dhikr and adhkar even while listening to the Quran. Do dhikr and adhkar, tasbih and tahleel and tahmeed, Jalla wa ala subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will see slowly contentment coming inside. And any Muslim, doesn't matter which kufri environment they're in, if they taste the sweetness of actual bonding with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then no doubts, it doesn't matter how many doubts exist in the society or in that community, or how many philosophical doubts exist in the universities, it doesn't matter, because they've tasted that sweetness in the soul, in the heart, and that contentment. They know for a fact Allah exists and is fully aware, and Allah is so pure that He created the creation for no other reason but to give us. And because He wanted to give us to those who deserve Him, He created a creation with desires and whims and kufr and choices to disbelieve. And it's just about then people passing that test and finding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then it's all about joy, delight, happiness, contentment, sweetness, purity, generosity, care, share, love, sacrifice, and beauty. Now,
Jazakumullah khairan. Sheikh, how about if somebody was reciting today but they accidentally didn't pronounce some of the letters and they started imagining it in their head without realizing, and then they realized and went back and forth? What should they do with going back and fixing that?
These are all overlooked. But as I said it before, if you can remember exactly which verse, then go back to the verse. If you can't, remember, then just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. And inshallah, these are overlooked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Jazakumullah. Sheikh, final question, inshallah, of the night. What's the etiquette of following someone who's making dua out loud next to you in terms of raising your hand or saying Ameen behind them? What's the etiquette, correct etiquette?
If it's a Jama'ah dua, then you say Ameen after he makes the dua. He doesn't need to say Ameen. He makes the dua and you say Ameen. That's the etiquette. You raise, if he's raising hands, you raise hands. If he doesn't raise hands, you can also raise hands, no problem, inshallah ta'ala. All of them are fine.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah for this. Sheikh, do you have anything else you'd like to share, Sheikh, tonight before we end it?
I will say if we can read the translations first of the surahs, be it from the beginning, and then whichever verse that hits you in your soul, in your heart, whichever verse, open the tafsir book up and read the tafsir. And if you know Arabic language, then I will say read tafsir, basic tafsir, which is Saadi, tafsir of Saadi. And if you want to go a bit more detail in Imani wise, read tafsir Sha'rawi. It will give you Imani boosters, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair, taqabbalallahu minna wa minkum salih al-a'mal. Sheikh Adam, you can end it, inshallah.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Jazakumullah everybody for joining us one more time on our Ramadan Khatam. Don't forget we have a guest tomorrow. His name is Al-Qari Al-Sheikh Hazza Al-Balushi. So please tell everybody, tell your friends and family to come and listen to the Sheikh reciting live here in Al-Arqam on the Ramadan Khatam tomorrow. We're starting from Surah Al-Hijr, which is the beginning of Surah number 14, inshallah, page number 182 or 282. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum assalam.